Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Lisa DeMaro, and I am joined by my husband, Christopher DeMaro, and we would like to welcome you to the Talking Gravesend Podcast.
This podcast is dedicated to simply celebrate the original series written, directed, and created by William DeMeo. You can see the series right now on Amazon Prime and Tubi, and it's absolutely my favorite series to watch, Lisa.
I'm totally in love with this show. You asked me to come downstairs one day, and you said, honey, I found a show. It's the soundtrack. You have to listen to these songs. Come and join me. Let's watch the show.
You know what? You're right. That was one of the things that got me right off the bat. I saw a reel on Facebook, and it had some freestyle house music playing, and it had this really intense scene, and it just got me. I had to go on Amazon Prime, see if I could find it, and lo and behold, I did. And boy, am I happy that I did find Gravesend Series, because it's our new podcast series.
We are hooked on it.
Yeah.
Can't wait to watch season 3 when it comes out. But we would like to introduce you to season 1. Episode 1.
Season 1, episode 1. I want to share a little bit of why I like this show so much. There are so many factors that William DeMeo put into the production of this program that would just get you. Whether it's the music, it's a time period piece, and he does an outstanding job really kind of creating that late 80s city mosaic that was throughout.
Ooh, City Mosaic. I like that.
So let's jump right in. The opening scene that we end up where, actually, the
let's
opening
introduce
scene.
the scene. What is it? What is it called? What is the name of the episode?
The name of episode 1 is the 18th Street Festival.
That's right.
Yeah. And
Festival of 18th Street.
The show opens with black screen with some writing on it. It says 1986 was a big year for New York, stating that the Mets won the World Series, that the Giants won their first Super Bowl, and the 5 Mafia families were the strongest that they ever were.
Yes.
And we have some issues right off the bat, don't we?
Yes. As I explained that to my mother's a huge Giants fan. She said, what year? 86? No, the Giants did not win their first Super Bowl until 87 against the Denver Broncos. So I don't know. Maybe that's just a little miss there.
Well, maybe it's just how they remember it, right? Like, 'cause that was the year that it happened. I mean, 86 ended, and then, of course, the Super Bowl is just a few weeks after 86, right into 87. So maybe that was it.
Sure.
It was from the 86 season.
All right.
Okay, maybe that's it.
Fact check.
Okay, fact check. So the opening scene is with Benny Zerletta, who's played by William DeMeo. He's our main character. And William DeMeo, we're going to do a little bit of an intro show after this. It talks all about all of the actors, but William DeMeo's very first on-screen appearance was in 1993, The Bronx Tale. And he's been in a
great movie.
Great movie.
Great
the scene that he was in, he actually was given a couple of actual speaking lines that he didn't expect. He expected to be an extra. And if I'm not mistaken, the scene that you can see him in is when he's with Caladrio and Slick in front of the Deuces Social Club, kind of Italian catcalling some of the girls. Yeah.
Listen,
great.
Ladies don't like that. That doesn't work.
So I will get into a little bit of the biography of all of the actors and the creators as we go along into this. But let's just jump right into the show, because that's what's really why you guys are here.
The show opens. Benny is in church. He's having a conversation with St. Anthony.
Yeah, you're right. So he was in church with St. Anthony, and he says, "Don't look at me like that." I couldn't talk to him direct. And I didn't know what he was speaking about when I first saw this scene, and it took me a couple of, watches to understand that he was actually speaking really about his mom, if I'm not mistaken, and his relationship with God, that his mom actually was, on her deathbed, was really interested in him pursuing.
So he's having this conversation, and he lights a candle for his mother, walks outside.
That's when I knew it was. He said, "I know she is." So I think that's when he said, your mother is with me, or was it your mother is praying for you? So that was my question there as he lit the candle.
Good question.
Yeah, and then he walked out, and then we finally we meet Tommaso, another character who's played by Louis Lombardi. And you'll know Louis Lombardi right away from The Sopranos, The Usual Suspects. I mean, a ton of different programs. Great actor.
Highly recognized.
He comes out and he asks him if he lit a candle for him.
Yes, and the usual banter. He said, "Oh no, if I went in there, the walls would shake or something." To that, I feel like that sometimes as well. But so then they get in the car. They they have a couple of heroes waiting for them.
Yeah, we got to get going. The guy's got some heroes waiting.
Some
for us.
heroes, which here up here in Springfield we call them grinders. So hearing hero,
I chuckle a little bit
sub
every time I
always makes
hear
us laugh
someone
a
say, or
little
hoagie.
bit.
Hoagie's another one.
Hoagie's a good one.
We grew up with grinders, right? That's how we grew up here in
Grinders.
Western Mass. And just so folks know, if you don't know, the term grinder came from, actually, if I'm not mistaken, the Groton subbase in Groton, Connecticut, where at the time there were people who used to grind the rivets off the side of the submarines, and
You want a sandwich you can hold.
they wanted a sandwich they could hold whilst they did their work. So hence,
There
the
you
grinder,
go.
you heard it here first in the Talking Gravesend podcast.
You heard it.
So,
Okay.
one of the neat things about the scene, Lisa, I have it written in my notes, is WKTU is playing. It says
KTU
the DJ
92.
says KTU 92, and just another example of the attention to detail inside of the writing of this show. KTU is a monumental station. They kind of brought in dance music and disco into the mainstream and kind of kicked it out. They were the first station in the nation to do so. So to have them playing
Station
on the
in the
radio,
nation.
and they're sitting in, of course, one of the reasons I love the show, the automobiles. They're sitting in Benny's car. What kind of car is it? Do you remember?
Oh gosh, why do you have to embarrass me? I don't even recognize my own car when I drive by it. So to have
It's a 1985 Buick Grand National, baby.
Okay.
You know what color it is? Black. You want to know why? It's the only color they came in. That was the fastest production vehicle made during that time. Beat Corvette, beat everybody here in America. And that's why you hear Benny say, I feel the Grand National's in a class of its own, because it was.
I feel like this show is in a class of its own.
So they pull up. And
You know what? Why don't we play the clip here?
Let's do it. So we're going to watch together, right? We're going to watch together. I've got a clip loaded up on my phone. We're going to put it up on the screen so you can go ahead and hear it. This is the scene where Benny's pulling up in the Grand National. This is obviously his club. You can tell as they pull up. Here we go.
He has a couple of heavies waiting outside
heavies.
for him.
They stand up, kind of
Greet him, showing the respect.
The hierarchy. They come into the table. Here's Gino. I love this guy.
I love Gino too.
They've got something on the table here. It's a brown drink. I don't know if it's cola or Moxie. I'd like to know what it is. If some of you know what the heck it is that they're drinking here. Great scene.
There's some banter about the subs.
No way. Montana's the man.
You know, we got Mikey the Hat. We're introduced to Mikey the Hat here.
Speaking of money,
There's Vinny.
you guys collect from
We'll
China?
cover everybody here.
You make sure you tell me slacking. See the only Chinese guy that can sell fireworks in fucking Chinatown?
See, so right there, you kind of see some hierarchy at the table. You know that Benny's in charge. His guy, I want to call him Louis. Tommaso, give him the, hey, get the F on it. And the acknowledgement over by Gino and Vinny that that's something that they have to do.
Yep, absolutely.
So right there, let's just talk a little bit about who's in the scene, darling.
Okay.
We got Mikey the Hat, is played by Leo Rossi. He was in Analyze This. I just saw him in Gotti the other night. He was great in that.
Fabulous in Gotti. Great job in Gotti.
Then we got Gino. Gino's played by Patrick Barilio. He also was in The Irishman. This character is my favorite character of season 1. And as you watch it, you'll find out why, because he goes for it no matter what. He goes over the top. This guy's got heart. I love Gino. You're going to love Gino. And something I want to talk about during this show is I don't only want to cover the cars. I don't want to cover the music, the writing. I want to cover the jewelry.
Yes, well, you see that he has a pretty flashy watch. So one of the things that you notice, as you mentioned, that there's a bit of a hierarchy around the table. So you can see that, Mikey the Hat's a bit higher, Tommaso's higher up in the ranks. And then you see Vinny and Gino, and you can tell that they're a bit lower on the totem pole there, but he has such a flashy watch.
He does. He's wearing a gold.
He's wearing a nice Rolex.
So this is interesting. So this is another part of the show that I wanted to talk about, and I really hope the creators of the show watch the podcast and get back to us, because I have some questions. And right around Gino's watch. So 1986, 1987, I worked at a place called Service Merchandise, and I worked at the jewelry counter, as a matter of fact. And they sold a watch that looked exactly like that I was not allowed to buy because it was fake. It was a gold.
You weren't allowed to wear fake stuff either?
My parents wouldn't let me
Nice.
wear fake jewelry. So this was a gold presidential Rolex with the diamond bezel. And I really wonder, are we to assume that Gino is wearing a $40,000 plus timepiece, or is he wearing a Fugazi?
Right. right? Because the Fugazi would go with the time period and make sense. So.
It would, right? So I think it was an interesting
just
writing.
a little
We'll see
tidbit.
if that's what it really is.
Yeah.
So just then, as they're sitting there, Big Sally walks in, who's played by big-time Tommy Ramola. This guy is crazy. He owns like 25 Cadillacs. I've seen him on a couple of podcasts. He cracks me up.
He's really funny. I like his
school for life.
Yes,
Old
I
school
like
for
his
life.
personality.
So he walks in, and it was funny. He goes, "Hey, look what the wind blew in." And I think it was
Mikey that has says, "Oh, that's a big
That's
wind."
a big wind. So he comes over and he says, "Hey, Maddie wants to see you." So this and he says, "Make sure." And I felt that to be kind of an interesting, because this is his club. This is
yeah.
like
Who
Benny's
is he
social
to
club.
walk in and tell Benny what's up? So Benny takes it in stride. I was quite surprised how gracious he took that comment, and he went and sat down and kind of made light of it in front of the boys.
And then it was kind of interesting. So the timing of that. So he gets the word from Sally that Matty Cigar sent for him, which is a term, right? And then at the same time, I think it's Tommaso gets a beep that says, "Oh, Dominic's paging me 911 again."
Yes.
And Mikey the Hat, he even says,
"Oh, what
remember?
are you gonna go bail him out again?"
So that kind of sets the tone, and they head out. So this might be maybe why he got called to Matty Cigars. So you know what? Let's watch the episode, or let's watch the episode. Let's watch the scene.
Let's watch that scene,
because what happens is they got to go find out what this 911 was about, and it really helps. I love this scene. So here we go.
What you do now? Wow, what I do? I took him your man on beat. Good fucking job. No wonder his father
This
just
kid
said,
does a
Benny,
great job.
I had to. What the fuck is wrong with you? Wrong with me? You're asking me what's wrong with me? I gotta deal with this fucking kid from the Bronx coming to the neighborhood, banging my ex-girl, and throwing it in my face? Just said your ex-girl. That means she can fuck
That's a
whoever
big
she
point.
wants.
Your ex-girl.
Your ex-girl.
Yep.
That means she can do anything
She
wants.
can fuck anyone she wants, right?
Can't
and he
mess
says,
with that.
And the other thing the reason I wanted to play the scene for everybody is because we're going to move into some other scenes that it identifies that Dom knew who the hell the guy is that he beat up. He knew exactly who he was.
For sure,
Yeah,
for
he knew
sure.
exactly who he was.
And you know what was kind of interesting, as they're driving to go see him, you hear the song playing in the background, "Hungry for Glory."
Yes, excellent
And that,
pickup.
that kind of you foreshadow a little bit that, this is what Dominic's character is about a little bit.
Yes.
He's hungry.
Now Dominic's played by Paulie. I'm going to say this right. Malijaji, if I did that right. He's in Omerta. He's from Blue Bloods.
Sorry if we massacred
I
that.
apologize. Come on, tell me how to say it right. I want to get it right. This kid did a great job. He was only in just this first episode. He doesn't make it out of the episode.
No, he does not. Sorry.
So it was I think he did a really good job, and I like the way he came out and he was like, "What?" I really like that. He said, "You're capable of baseball batting guys and doing junk, but you can't get your stuff
Can't keep it
together."
together, so.
And the tie-in here that I want to just mention, because he brings it up, is that Dom's mother and Benny's mother were best friends until the day Benny's mom passed away.
And he's got to throw it in his face.
He
right
throws
up
it in his
right
face.
Up,
He
whoa,
does.
Come on, that's his excuse for everything. No, you can't use that as an excuse for everything. Sometimes you have to be accountable.
Because he says that. He says,
your behavior.
He says, hey, this guy wouldn't be nothing without his father. And he goes, yeah, well,
Yeah.
I'll be sure to mention.
Jimmy Armino wouldn't be shit without his dad.
Without his dad. And he goes, all right, okay, I'll be sure to mention that on the sit-down that I'm about to go to with the guy. So you know what? I have that scene, and this was a scene that really got me about the show. And I'm going to tell you why. Because Benny Zerletta plays this part so well. And what I mean by so well is he does exactly what he's supposed to do. This guy,
as if he got called into a real sit down.
he does.
He
He plays this scene absolutely
All right,
fabulous.
let's see.
Let's watch it together, okay, you guys? Hey, they're on Arthur Avenue. So this must be Matty Cigar's place. Here we are. Here's Matty sitting down. He's got his guys behind him.
As you already know, I don't even have to speak to you, Benny.
So insults him right off the rip.
I don't even have to speak to you.
I didn't reach out to Chris because I feel you're worthy of sitting across from me.
And I didn't reach out to Chris because I feel you're worthy of sitting across from me. So that's kind of an interesting point because, Benny's got a boss. And to have a sit-down like this, usually you've got to have your guy and him.
Absolutely. There's a
to hash it out.
hierarchy, for sure.
And there's rules. So the fact that Benny took the meeting, but he did it out of heat, right? Because he got the beep. Everything is happening for him. This is all part of the story with this soldier, is that it's not just him and his actions that he has to deal with. It's the actions of everybody in his universe that he constantly has to be accountable for. And he, look at that, just watches him. And the swallow.
Silence, it's awesome.
That being said,
It's good acting.
you tell me why I shouldn't put that kid Dominic in a box for putting his hands on my son.
Thank you, Maddie.
Thank you
As you already know,
for giving him the
sometimes
audience.
these broads, they cause major problems. Some people, they make that pussy own them. Make them do very foolish things. Kid swears to me he had no idea you were his father.
And there it is. So he's sticking
And
up. He's
be
lying
sorry
right to
about
this
the
guy right now, but
complication
he's
they
doing
had.
what he's got to do to protect his people.
The sorry change the 3 stitches my son has above his eye.
I love this scene. I love this scene.
I
knows.
understand, Maddie.
Humbled
It won't
up.
happen again.
Fucking humble
I
pie.
already told this kid he's not allowed in any of the clubs anymore. He fucks up again, I can assure you, I'll handle it.
Goddamn right you'll handle it.
And there's the relief. There's the relief. You see it.
Yep.
Because he knows he's walking out.
Exactly. Exactly. When
he's
the
got-
boss says, "Goddamn right, you'll handle
And
it,"
then
you
wait.
say, "Okay,
Can't
good. I've
respect
got my second
position
chance."
And even attempts to breathe a word to my son.
See, he respects my
I swear to
position.
Christ.
He won't.
I love this.
I'm
Paul,
gonna give him one pass.
I give him one pass.
One pass.
Only because I know how close he is.
Because I know how close to you, out of respect for our
I
thing.
appreciate it.
And I mean, this is a powerful scene.
One pass, Benny.
One pass. It's an outstanding
Yeah.
scene.
Respect is all we have. Respect is all we have.
It's Paul Ben Victor who plays Matty Cigars.
Correct.
This guy steals every scene he's in. He acts like without acting. I'm really impressed with what he brought to the screen and what he brought to the character of Matty Cigars. I think he played it extremely authentic, and you'll see the power of his acting skills coming soon.
You know, the next scene opens to the 18th Ave Festival. They're at the Santa Rosalina, St. Rosa's Festival.
Yeah, no. So the interesting thing with the St. Rosalina Festival, so St. Rose, it has become kind of the saint of COVID, and I found that to be an interesting choice of festivals to be there. And traditionally, if I'm not mistaken, the festival's usually like on the 14th of July or mid-September. So interesting because I feel like we're kind of like early summer here in the story. So Benny's boss is played by James Russo. He's from Django Unchained. The very first time I ever saw him was in Beverly Hills Cop. If you're, over 45, you probably remember Mikey was Axel Foley's buddy, who they stole the car and he got arrested for. He did a great job in that role. And I just want to say that role is exactly what a supporting role does. And when he played Mikey in Beverly Hills Cop, he established Axel Foley as a guy from the street and a guy who understands being kind of like a rough and tough cop. And the power of a supporting actor is overlooked, I think, by a lot of audiences. And I just want to kind of give them their payment. And frankly, this is one of the awesome things that William DeMeo did, Lisa, is he took 3 generations of supporting actors and gave them much bigger roles. They're bosses. They're not just getting whacked out in the hallway.
Yeah, James Russo, he's crazy Chris Telva in the story. He is his boss. So let's take a look at the feast scene, Chris.
Let's take a look at the feast scene.
Everything good with your crew? Yeah, I got everyone in check. Just Mikey gets restless.
So Mikey the Hat hasn't been made yet.
Ah, fuck him.
That's why you got in at 30 and he's still waiting.
I know. Virginia, are you really gonna ignore your old friend from West 9th Street?
All right, so
and
they
that's
see-
where we see Virginia for the first time.
So my video just kind of skipped through. We also see the individual that Chris stopped and said hello to was Nick Vellenlonga, and he unfortunately has passed away. Nick wrote The Green Book, which he received 2
I really
Emmys
like
and 2
that
Golden
movie.
Globes. His father was Tony Lip, who also was in The Sopranos, and he played, he played Carmine Lupertazzi in, did he play Carmine? Yeah, Carmine Lupertazzi. Did I have that right?
Maybe.
Yeah, I think so. He was a boss in New York. Tony Lip, that's the story of Green Book. So kind of an interesting little
cross.
cameo.
That's when he says to the boy, "I'll give you the
Yankees
I'll
tickets.
give you the
You're
Yankee
Yankees fans.
tickets."
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then they see Virginia Rizzo, who was played by Christine DeRosa. And she was in Back of the Day. She was in Gotti.
Oh my gosh, she is such a doll. She absolutely steals the scenes as well. Her accent, I can't get enough of it. She is such a cutie. They have her styled to perfection
They
with
do.
her huge earrings. I love
Her
those
makeup,
big gaudy earrings.
the hair,
The hair, the
and
big
then she's
hair.
got a
Well,
couple of neighborhood girls with her too.
Sure, but she's definitely representing the big hair from Texas.
So from there, we move on to a scene where it opens up to the Brooklyn Bridge in a crooked shot. So you know that things are about to go awry in the shot. So I'm going to put it on right now. Now, this
Right. We open up into the nightclub.
is a Bay Ridge nightclub. I saw some other podcasts. This was modeled after pastels. One of the things I want to point out is look how everyone's dressed. You don't see guys in these freaking T-shirts. People are wearing blazers and coats, and they're dressed up, except for our guy, Dom. He's got
The Canadian tuxedo on there, the denim jacket on the denim jeans.
well, he's looking like he's ready to put in some work. So here's the X. And you can see he's still got the...
He has the stitches above his brow.
Yeah, Jimmy's still got the 3 stitches. I love this. Ready?
So rude.
It's the least I can do, right?
And then he talks to her first.
Yeah.
No hard
But
feelings.
then he switches, right? He's like,
I'm happy for you guys.
humbles up.
I really am.
And that's that.
Told you my dad would straighten it out.
Yeah, I told you my dad would straighten it out.
Yep.
She's a rough one. I should mention that the girlfriend, Stephanie, is played by Elizabeth Artisto, and Maddie Segar's son, Jimmy Aminio, is played by Ryan Castro. He's from The Orange is the New Black. Next shot, you see the outside of the club. It's pouring rain. He's got his coat over Stephanie, and they're getting into the car. They get into the car, and he says, "You're the hottest girl in that
Yeah,
place."
they're about to start making out, and all of a sudden you hear the scream. The scream from the girl.
And Dom he freaking shoots the guy.
Shoots him right through the window. And you're just like, oh,
And he leans in.
dude, why'd you do it? And he says, shut up, slut. So stupid.
I think Dom was wearing a two-tone date just Rolex with a Wimbledon dial, but I could be mistaken because it was a hard hard look to see it. So right away that it's going to be bad news.
Oh
for
my
Benny.
God, he just caused so much trouble for poor Benny. He just had the one pass. So what are you gonna do?
The next scene is at 19 minutes on the time frame, and we're gonna watch it because it's a very powerful scene with Antoinette Zaletta, played by Hilary Greer, Benny Zee's father, who's played by his name is Jasper, and he's played by Louis Varneses. And I know I probably said that wrong, Louis. I'm sorry. The funny thing about this is he also was played Benny on A Bronx Tale.
Yeah.
And he was sitting on the stoop, I
Yeah,
think, or
they were
sitting
the same
at the social
age.
club.
So I struggle slightly with the casting on that one, but he looks the part.
Yeah, Jasper does look the part, and he does a great job.
He does a fabulous job.
And here, let's see.
Let's watch the
Let's see
scene.
if we can play a little bit of it because it's a very powerful scene.
And blessed is the fruit of thy womb.
Honey, Father Calvin, I know it's here.
Get them both here.
You Christ.
God is with you, Antoinette. I pray for you every day. Please pray for my son. I do, Antoinette.
Feels like crap.
Body of Christ. Amen. God bless you, Antoinette. Come to church, baby.
He doesn't even acknowledge him. He just looks at him.
Please listen to Father Calvano, Benny. You need the Lord in your life. You must pray. Oh, God hears our prayers, Benny.
Oh, and then I cut it off. And then
Yeah, it's
Giuseppe
at that
says,
point his dad says, well, God despises him. And Benny looks at him with utter disgust and says, you couldn't even help yourself during this time. And his mom says, no, please, Benny, don't go. And Benny walks out, kisses her hand, I believe, and off he goes. So that was one of the last times I think he spoke to his mother.
yes,
And his father.
and his father. And it is a very powerful scene. And then it moves right into Benny getting drunk. And we know that through watching the show that Benny doesn't drink. So
Alcohol doesn't really agree with him.
This is an emotional scene. You don't know if he's at his bar or whatever. And then he's driving in a car. So it's luckily for us, we realize that it's a dream sequence that he's having. And it's all about his mom and the passing of his mom.
Correct.
Next scene that opens, we open up with Dominic packing a suitcase.
Yeah, Dominic's up in his room, packing his suitcase. He comes downstairs, speaks to his mom in Italian. You know, they have an exchange around why, you know, he wants to go out and see his uncle out there
Sicily.
in Italy. Yeah, he's going to
Sicily.
Sicily to see his uncle. She wants to know why such a sudden rush. And out the door he goes, walking happy. He's looking behind him, knowing that there could be a problem, but he seems to be in the clear.
He opens the door to the garage, and there's a beautiful green Dodge Charger, RT Charger, sitting in the dooryard, as they say up in Vermont. It was absolutely gorgeous. And then right then and there, Benny's there to greet him.
Yep, Benny's there. Little bang bang, done.
Yep.
Bye-bye, Dominic.
He shoots him in the garage. And
he said he'd handle it.
You know, one of the things I wanted to point out is when that garage opened and he popped the trunk of the RT Charger, he put the suitcase in standing up, not on its side. And I think that was a really
I thought
great,
that was
really
I was like,
great storytelling.
that thing's falling down right away.
It is falling. That's falling down. It's not making it.
Falling down.
So great foreshadowing there, William. We really appreciated that little tidbit. And another thing that I noticed, Lisa, when they shot Dom, he had a gun. He had a revolver.
Oh, my
tucked in.
God.
Yep.
Right out of The Godfather. He had it all. Make sure you tape the handle and the trigger.
And the trigger was taped, so he was ready to, it was...
That's what he used. That's what he used the night before.
To
So
kill
he was
Jimmy,
ready
yeah.
to go on the lamb.
Yeah.
Hit the mattresses, as they would say. We've got Mikey the Hat, Vinny, and Gino. They go in to see.
Oh, the lack of fireworks
Chung.
sales.
Yeah.
They go find Chung.
They got to go deal with the lack of fireworks sales in Chinatown.
So this is right from the very first scene where Benny says, "Get on that," or rather, when Tommaso says, "Get on that." So they go to see a guy, and he goes, "No, Chung's having lunch at his cousin's place." They go and find him. Chung is played by Perry Russo. And it was Mikey the Hat, Vinny, and Gino go to have a little chit-chat, little this and that about what's going on. And Chung says sales are off because Su Lin says that he's the only one who can sell fireworks in Chinatown.
Who's Su Lin?
And then he shows, he picks his arm up and he goes, "He did this to me last week."
He busted his arm up. He's in a cast. So obviously there's trouble.
So next thing,
Big trouble.
Mikey and the crew go visit Su Lin and crew.
Yep.
And they play a little Mark McGuire.
Yep. They had a little baseball bat
Fucking
session
Barry
on the boys.
Bonds all over the place.
Ooh.
And
It looked painful.
Yeah. They and I think Mikey's last thing, he took the gun out and he says, "No more selling fucking fireworks on Canal Street," or something, and that was that for Su Lin. And then we move right into at 25 minutes on the timeline of everyone sitting around, kind of celebrating. I think I have a video of that we can take a look. And the reason I wanted to include that video is how do I say this? How accurate it is to have these types of celebrations after you do some dirty work. And I just really liked that aspect.
Oh, you gotta
of
go
this.
blow. You gotta go blow off
the
some steam for sure. You have the there's a song playing on the radio. Here we go.
Still an old G, huh? Yeah, fucking right. All you gotta do is follow orders. You do that in this life of ours. Everything else.
Following the rules, everything else is easy. In the background is Niobe, "Please Don't Go." Great song. Actually all about a guy going out to take revenge of somebody who got murdered.
Benny, look who's here.
Oh,
Then they say,
And then
look who's
they say,
here.
"Here it is."
Everyone turns, casually stares. It's Miss Virginia. Here she is in the back room. She's having, she's out with her friends. They're having a nice time. Everyone's dressed impeccably, styled, straight up 80s there with the hair, the nails, the costumes, the jewelry.
Benny sends Tommaso over. Real play move, right? He sends her over, and then he goes in the back.
To be very discreet.
Very discreet.
Very
And
discreet.
it looks like they have every single dessert at the restaurant for her. So here, I've got a scene here. Let's watch.
Did you really need to
I'm
send
all
a
about the
messenger to
dessert.
get me over here?
Sit down.
Her outfit's
I
gorgeous.
didn't know what you preferred. So
Got a little bit of everything.
Exactly what I didn't want.
What do you mean?
The temptation of your charm, Benny.
Her accent,
my
I love
father.
it.
Her accent's so good.
That was the man.
And he acknowledges
Really?
it.
The man? The man who will never see daylight on the
I
streets
like the way
again?
that she says you never see
That's why I
daylights on
love
the
you, Benny.
streets.
There's a whole world out there different from here. Guys like my father and you will never understand that.
This scene was so good, and I don't believe I have the next one. I don't. So the thing about this scene is it's really sweet, and he really likes her,
Yeah.
and she really likes him, and she doesn't want to fall victim to his charm because he is exactly like her dad, and she can't help himself because she just got out of, and he insults her inside of this, right?
Oh, yeah.
He said, "Oh, I was married." And he goes, "Well, how did that work out?"
How did that work out for you? Don't insult her like
and
that.
she was like, "You know what? That's good. I'm out of here." And then he was like, "Look, I apologize," which he should have done. He did a good job at as we say, pulling over on that one. But when he finally says to her, "All I want is one chance. I'm asking for one date." And that's kind of the theme of episode 1. He got one pass. He had one chance to make that right. He asked for his one date with Virginia, and that one chance. And then she says, "Okay." And he feeds her that piece of cake.
A big old piece of cake, too.
And "I've Been Waiting for a Girl Like You" starts playing instrumental. And I got to tell you, I was hooked. That was hooked at the end of episode 1. Fucking great. Love this show. That's it. I'm hooked. And I just can't wait to learn everything about this story. And that's what we're going to do on this series, gang, is Lisa and I are going to dig into these episodes. We're going to dig into these characters. We're going to dig into the locations and help you.
We're going to help you understand it.
We're going to help you enjoy the show even more than you would if you just stumbled on it on yourself. We love the show, as you can tell. We're happy that you guys stuck around to we kind of fumbled through this. This is our very first reviewing a show. We do produce a lot of video podcasts here out of the studio, but this is the first of this kind, and we've definitely getting our chops together here with it.
Felt a little awkward, but we're working on it.
We're getting it.
We're working on it.
Make sure. So we also started a Talking Gravesend podcast Instagram. We've got Talking Gravesend on YouTube, and of course we have Talking Gravesend podcast on Facebook. Make sure you go ahead and like the page, follow the Instagram feed, and make sure you subscribe to this brand new YouTube channel. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to go through all of season 1, and then we're going to dive right into all 9 episodes of season 2.
Season 2. Oh, it's amazing, you guys. Check it out if you haven't seen it yet. William DeMeo's Gravesend.
Thanks, everyone, for sticking around to the first episode, and we will see you back here for episode 2, Lenny's Pizza.
All right. Have a great one.
All right. Take it easy.